When Su Xiao opened his eyes, it was not yet dawn outside. The rooster in the yard has begun to crow. It is the breeding chicken of Uncle Zhao's neighbor next door, and she has several old hens which are used by her mother to lay eggs. In the commune, members are only allowed to raise 5 poultry and 2 pigs and sheep. And beyond this number is capitalism and will be cut off the tail of capitalism. Therefore, the family only dared to raise 4 old hens and 1 pig. No matter how much you can afford to raise, now the rations of every household are already tight. And the hogweed is even more cut crazy, and no matter how much you can't feed it. After a while, the sound of parents getting up, and their whispers came from next door. Su Xiao looked at the old green tent roof above her head, and there was still the buzzing sound of mosquitoes in her ears, which made her affirm once again that this was not a dream, that she was really back. It has been a few days since she was reborn, from the shock at the beginning, to the later acceptance of the facts, to the joy and ambition of the present. In her previous life, she collapsed on the operating table tired, and when she opened her eyes again, she was back to the age of 16. This year, at the beginning of 1976, the 10-year turbulent movement had not really ended, and the Red Guards and rebels were still very rampant. This year, that incident has not yet come out, and my father has not been tortured to death because of that incident, and everything is still too late. She vowed that since she was back, she could no longer watch that happen in this life. Su Xiao's family was actually not bad at that time. Her father joined the team long before liberation and after the war to resist U.S. aggression and aid Korea. He retired from the army and became a production captain after returning to the village. Her mother is the village women's director and has a high prestige in the village. The third brother, the eldest brother, is an intellectual, went to the provincial capital to go to college in his early years, but later, because of the 10 years of turmoil, he was sent to the farm as an educated youth, and has not come back so far. The second brother went to the army as early as 3 years ago, and now he has been promoted and has done a very good job. The third brother has a place for workers, peasants, and soldiers, and entered Tsinghua University to study, so it can be said that the future is also good. If it weren't for the incident that happened later, Su Xiao could be said to have grown up in a honeypot. But all of this ended in the spring of this year. Because of the 10-year catastrophe, the school has not opened for a long time, and many Red Guards and Red Soldiers have gathered in the school to create teachers' rebellions there, and the suspension of classes has become the norm. Su Xiao hasn't been to school for a long time, and has been helping at home, occasionally going to the brigade to earn some work points, and there's not much work, that is, cutting pigweed or goosegrass and the like, and sometimes selling eggs or vegetables and other things that have been saved at home for a long time in the town. There are workers in the town, and they also need these foods, but there are not many things sold. And they have to be reported to the team, otherwise once they are found out, they will be cut off as the tail of capitalism. Speculative things are not so easy to do once implemented. They will be pulled to criticize, fight, that day. The family finally saved more than a dozen eggs, and went to the county market with the village's grain truck, and went with a neighbor's handkerchief. As a result, on that day, he encountered rebels checking the tail of capitalism, and he was entangled in this way. The head of the rebels, called Hulezi, nicknamed Thin Monkey Head, was an unemployed vagrant in his early years, and then at the beginning of the 10-year catastrophe, he gathered a group of people to become the head of the rebels. At that time, he fell in love with Su Xiao. This kind of drama that can only be seen in the drama was actually staged on her. If she hadn't come out with the village's grain sales team at that time, she might have really been poisoned by that man. I thought this matter was over, but I didn't expect that a few days later, the thin monkey head would come to propose marriage and let the Su family marry Su Xiao. How could Su's father agree, a rebel gangster, Why should he marry his daughter? But he was afraid of the power of the leader of the thin monkey-headed rebels at that time, and did not dare to say no, but secretly sent Su Xiao into the army under the pretense of connections. I thought this was the end. But I didn't expect this thin monkey head to hold a grudge, and actually said an excuse, saying that Su's father had been a traitor when he was fighting against Japan. So he criticized Su's father. When Su's father was fighting against Japan, he was appointed by the organization and once infiltrated the Japanese puppet army, which turned out to be a thin monkey head. The reason for fighting Su's father: by the time Su Xiao knew, Su's father had already been criticized. The fight was inhumane because he was beaten so badly, injured his internal organs, and died of illness the year after the end of the 10-year catastrophe. It can be said that this incident has caused a catastrophe to the Su family, and Su Xiao has been blaming himself. She studied medicine for her father Su at that time, but Su's father was not saved in the end. She should be glad that the timing of her rebirth was coincidental, and she was reborn before this incident, otherwise she might continue the pain of the previous life. Now that she has been reborn, Su Xiao feels that this is a chance given to her by God for her to make up for it. If she encounters this thin monkey head again, she must think that in addition to this scourge, at least some people can suffer less. She had heard that the people who had been harmed by him in his previous life were not only their Su family. Be quiet, Lanzi is still asleep. Just as I was thinking, my father's voice came from outside. The mother's voice was quieter again, and she was afraid that if the voice was too loud, it would really wake up her daughter. Su Xiao thought about his thoughts, so he couldn't lie down anymore, so he got up and got dressed. When she opened the door and went out, Su's father was twisting pigweed in the yard, but Su's mother was busy in the kitchen. Father Su looked up. Lanzi, why did you get up? Not much sleep. Lanzi is her nickname. Before enlisting in the army, she has been using this name, and later she joined the army as a soldier, so she gave herself a big name, Su Xiao. Dad, I'll go to the ground with you today. Going to the field to earn work points, this is a common practice in rural areas. An adult counts 10 points, then a minor can count 5 to 9 points, depending on the work they do and the level of proficiency. An adult can get 3 cents for 10 minutes of work, so a child goes to the team to help, even if it is counted as 5 cents. There is a dime and 5 cents. So many families with many children will let their children work in the team. There are also many tasks that children can do in the team, such as cutting pigweed in the wild, or doing some light work in the brigade, such as picking beans or other easy work. In addition to being reluctant to let her do rough work, there is another direct reason that they want Su Xiao to go to school. After all, Su's father has been in the army and has actually analyzed the situation in the country. In their opinion, their daughter will be very promising in the future. Although schools are now suspended, they have always believed that the country cannot continue like this forever. And it is impossible not to let intellectuals come forward, so they are also waiting for the opportunity. And a few days ago, the eldest son, Su Wenbin, sent a letter asking them not to delay their sister's schooling. But Su Xiao's thoughts were different from theirs. She naturally knew that in a few months, the 10-year catastrophe would end, and the country would be able to resume the college entrance examination next year. As long as the college entrance examination is resumed, then it will be the future of these students, but she still wants to enter the army. She had a deep affection for the army, and when she had nothing, it was the dean who taught her medical skills and sent her to the military academy for further study. Even Su's father was taken to their hospital, but Su's father was too sick at the time and was not saved in the end. However, she was grateful. The army had the grace of rebuilding and teaching her, and until the moment she was reborn, she was still the director of surgery in the hospital. For decades, it has been repeating in industry, and blood and flesh have been injected into this industry. At this time, if she starts from scratch, she can naturally choose a new industry, such as taking the college entrance examination and being admitted to a good university, but what major can she choose? In the end, I am afraid that I will still choose a medical university. In that case, it is better to return to the Army of the Year. She has a special and inseparable affection for the green military uniform. More importantly, she wanted to meet him, her husband Tong Dang, in her previous life, and in this life. She could no longer let him die heroically for it that winter. Therefore, she had to go to the army to prevent what happened. Lindsay, the porridge is hot in the kitchen. You eat it while it's hot. Working in the fields, I will talk about it later. Remember to feed the pigs at home. Sue's mother said, picked up 2 empty baskets, and followed in Sue's father's footsteps. Su Xiao opened his mouth, but in the end he didn't say anything. She went to the kitchen and saw a bowl of porridge and a boiled egg hot inside, which was obviously a meal for herself. She bit the egg and felt even more ruthless in her heart. If she wanted to change the predicament of her previous life, she could not repeat the mistakes of the past. While eating, there was a shout outside the door. "Lindsay, are you here?" Su Xiao responded, ran out to see. It was her handkerchief friend, Zhao Zuer, the granddaughter of Uncle Zhao's family next door. Zhao Zuer was carrying a bamboo basket covered with a layer of cloth on it, and when she saw Su Xiao eating, she glanced at it and was surprised. "Lindsay, your parents are so good to you, and where are the eggs?" Su Xiao responded casually. "My mother said that I am growing my body and need to make up for it." Zhao Zuer said, "It's better for your parents, not only to read to you, but also to replenish your body in different ways. How can you be like me? It's good to have a stutter at home." Su Xiao glanced at her and remained silent. Although Zhao Zuer did not eat imperial food as a soldier like her in her previous life, she heard that she later married a family in the town and lived a very good life. Although Zhao Zu didn't go to school for a few days, she was shrewd, and later she started her own business and even became a big entrepreneur. I still remember seeing her before she was reborn, when she was cutting the ribbon for a company and was living better than her. The current Zhao Zu is naturally not as shrewd and capable as later generations, and she is timid, always following her, calling her Lindsay, Lindsay. "Lindsay, eat quickly. We still have to go to the market to sell eggs, just in time to set off with the grain transport team's car." The word market exploded in her heart. Su Xiao was stunned and said what he thought. "I won't go to the market." Chapter 2, People Are Different. She looked at Su Xiao suspiciously. "Lindsay, didn't you propose to go a few days ago? Why did you regret it again?" She finally persuaded her parents to let her go to this market. How could Su Xiao change her mind temporarily? She always felt that Lindsay was a little weird today, but she couldn't say where the specific fault was. Su Xiao was startled, seeing that she was suspicious, but she didn't know how to explain to Zhao Zuer that the emergency situation that would occur when she went to the market this time could not be said to be that they would get into trouble with the thin monkey as head, so it would lead to a tragedy, right? Naturally, these can't be said. Even the parents can't confide in half a sentence, let alone Zhao Zuer, who is just handkerchiefs. She casually found an excuse. "Zuer, I originally wanted to go to the market, but my mother said that there are only a dozen eggs at home, and I won't go to the market to sell them first. My mother wants to keep these eggs, saying that she wants to replenish my brother's body." "Is it Brother Su who went home to visit relatives?" Zhao Zuer asked. Su Xiaojing was worried that he couldn't find an excuse, so he didn't think too much and responded randomly. "The letter from a few days ago said that I would come back." Zhao Zuer was ecstatic in her heart, but she didn't dare to show too much expression on her face. Her hand holding the bamboo basket kept rubbing, and she raised her shining eyes to look at Su Xiao. "I heard that Brother Su was promoted. Is it true?" At this time, Su Xiao was still thinking about her thoughts and did not look up. If she raised her head at this time, she would definitely see Zhao Zui's shining eyes. She was thinking about her thoughts, but she didn't pay attention to the question in Zui's mouth. A few days ago, I sent a telegram saying that I would go to the military academy to study for 2 years, and I would be able to become a platoon leader. Zhao Zui couldn't hide her joy in her heart and planned to stay with Su Xiao. But thinking of her parents and looking at the eggs in the basket, she was a little embarrassed. These eggs were sold to pay tuition for his younger brother, Xiao Tianqi, to go to school. She gritted her teeth and said to Su Xiao, "Lanzi, then I'll go to the market first, and I'll find you when I come back." "Zuer, wait a minute." Su Xiao called out to her and said in his heart, "Don't go either. Save these eggs first. And when my brother comes back, let's go together." Zhao Zui was ecstatic, just wanted to agree, but after thinking about it again, she still shook her head. "Forget it. Let's talk about it in a few days." People are different. Su Xiao can stay at home and do nothing, but Zhao Zui can't. She has to make up for her brother's tuition. Otherwise, her mother will scold her again. "Zuer, listen to me. Don't go, okay?" Su Xiao grabbed her and only shook his head at her. Zhao Zui pulled her hand away. "I'm different from you. If I don't earn my brother's tuition, I will inevitably be beaten. Don't persuade me." Su Xiao still wanted to call her, but Zhao Zui walked quickly, and after a while, she disappeared. A little stunned, Su Xiao didn't react for a while. Carefully recalling the scene of that day, there is still time, and suddenly remembering that it is indeed today. The thin monkey head would go to the county to inspect, and then that incident happened, causing catastrophe to the Su family, so Su Xiao had to prevent Zhao Zui from going to the market. As far as Zhao Zui's appearance is concerned, although she is not as beautiful as Su Xiaoming, she is also a classical little beauty. Once she is seen by a thin monkey, she will not be tempted. The Zhao family is not like the Su family. Su's father loves his daughter, so he will save Su Xiao. But the parents of the Zhao family are afraid of getting into trouble, and they will never offend the thin monkey head for Zuer, which is equivalent to burying her life in the hands of that gangster. She couldn't wait any longer and hurriedly ran out. Over there, Xiao Zui had already hurried to the village square, and the time was delayed for a long time. There was a grain truck parked in the village, which was a tractor, which was still a typical example of the village by the county back then and was rewarded. "Zhao Zui, what's wrong with you?" The driver of the grain truck looked at her with some displeasure. Zhao Zui hurriedly apologized. "I'm really sorry, second Uncle Su. Lanzi doesn't want to come, so I spent a little more time." As soon as he heard that Lanzi was delayed, the driver's second Uncle Su's face softened, and Lanzi was the niece of his own clan. Zhao Zui stepped on the back carriage, but saw a cart of grain and several villagers, including He Limin and Shengzhu. The two of them were going to register in the county today, so they took a grain truck and went to the market to buy something. "Su Lan didn't come?" Shengzhu asked casually. She said that the eggs at home should be saved to replenish her body, and her aunt is really good to her. I can't help but sigh. Shengzhu glanced at her and remained silent. Tutu da-da-dee. The grain truck was pulled on the accelerator, carrying a truck of men, women, and food, and left the village in the dust. The sound of the tractor was already loud, not to mention that the Su family was close to the square. Even if it was a little farther away, it could be heard clearly. Zhao Zui in the carriage inadvertently looked up and happened to see Su Xiao running towards the square, and her mind froze. Why is she running here? The others in the carriage also saw Su Xiao and were about to call Uncle Su to stop when they heard Zhao Zui say, "Don't shout. Lanzi won't go. She just wants to stop me." Everyone wanted to slap the carriage, but stopped. At this time, Su Xiao stood in the square, looking at the tractor in the distance. With a helpless face, she was still a step late. Su Xiao saw sharply that there was a man and a woman in the back of the car in the distance, who were the young intellectuals who were conscripted from the city to the countryside a few years ago. She pondered in her heart, why did these two go to the market too? After thinking about it, I remembered that these two people were going to the county to register their marriage today. When she got home, she was in no mood to chew and eat breakfast slowly, so she just poured the porridge into her stomach casually and lifted the lid of the pork food. The Su family's earthen stove has a total of 2 stove holes, and one pot is specially designed for cooking pig food. She poured the pig food into the pot and started to cook the pig food. The pigs at home have to be fed. The pig in her family is still young, and it has only been caught for 2 months, and it can't eat much, so Su Xiao's work is not heavy. If it weren't for Su Xiao's previous life in the army, although he was a doctor, he often participated in training, and his strength was naturally not small. However, she has just been reborn and has not yet exercised her body, so she still spent a lot of thought. The pigsty is in the grass shed to the west, where, in addition to the pigsty, it is also a toilet for the family. There are still wooden toilets in the countryside now, and the domestic wastewater is still fertilizer in the crop field, so every household is reluctant to waste it. The toilet is behind this pigsty, and every time you go to the toilet, you must pass through the pigsty first. When Su Xiao was just reborn, he was used to the flush toilet, and he had long forgotten the scene of going to the toilet. Seeing her coming, the little pig seemed to know that his ration had arrived, so he came over with a humming hum, raised his head and looked at Su Xiao with his black little eyes, and his little eyes seemed to be saying, "Little master, give me the food quickly, I'm so hungry." Su Xiao didn't hesitate, lifted the barrel, and poured the pig food in the bucket into the trough in front of the piglet. The piglet ate it purring, with a satisfied face, which made Su Xiao feel happy. Look at the sky, it's not early. Thinking that she should go to Sandong to cut some hogweed and come back, she went to the kitchen to get an empty basket, closed the door and walked out. As soon as she walked to the square, she suddenly heard someone calling her, and when she turned around, it was Zhao Zui'er. It's a little strange. Didn't Zhao Zui'er go to the market? Coming back so soon? At this time, Zhao Zui'er was a little embarrassed. Her clothes were a little shabby. Her face was a little flushed. Her eyes were red and swollen, and she seemed to have cried. Zhao Zui'er hated the thin monkey head in her heart, and the boundless resentment spread like a weed that had taken root. Today was supposed to be a happy day. She had saved a lot of eggs, and she planned to pay her brother's tuition fees after exchanging money. She doesn't go to the county much, but usually goes to the town. On this day, I still entrusted Lanzi's relationship to get on the grain truck, and the driver of the grain truck was Lanzi's uncle. It was originally good. She was selling eggs, but she was blocked by the thin monkey's head. She had seen this thin monkey head once before, but it was in the town, and she didn't expect to meet him in the county. He leaned over with a face. "So it's Zui'er selling eggs?" When she saw him, Zhao Zui'er was so shocked that she almost knocked over the egg in her hand. She said, Why are you here? Why can't I be here? I am the captain of the security brigade, and it is normal to appear here. Zui'er, when will you marry me?" He leaned over again. Zhao Zui'er almost screamed. She suppressed the scream to her mouth and said, "Why do you have to wrap around me?" "I just want to be with you. Who made you the most beautiful girl I've ever seen?" Zhao Zui'er almost cried in her heart. Daring to love her because she was beautiful, he pestered her. She screamed, "In our village, I am not the most beautiful." Needless to say, the educated youth Shengxiu is just talking about Su Lan, the daughter of our village production captain, that is, a flower in the village, more than twice as good as me. The thin monkey head looked at her suspiciously, very suspicious of her words. Zhao Zui'er is the most beautiful woman he has ever seen, and there is anyone more beautiful than her in this world? Zhao Zuer's heart kept trembling, knowing that if she wanted to dispel his entanglement, she still had to think of a foolproof way. At this time, she found that Shengzu and Helaman were walking this way. Helaman and Shengzu were talking and laughing, and they couldn't help but be happy. The two of them just came out of the Civil Affairs Bureau and got their marriage certificates, and they have been legal couples since then. Zhao Zuer suddenly said, "That is Shengzu." The thin monkey head glanced over there lazily, and his eyes straightened suddenly. Zhao Zuer came back from her contemplation and reverie, looking at Su Xiao with a complicated expression, only to feel that Su Xiao's luck was really broken. She didn't go to the market today, and she avoided the thin monkey's head. Seeing Su Xiao looking over in surprise, she hurriedly retracted her gaze, hid the unwillingness in her eyes, and looked up again, and her expression was already normal. "Lanzi," Zhao Zuir shouted again, "are you going to cut hogweed? I'll go with you." Su Xiao hummed, "Let's go." Chapter 3 Su Xiao. This is not right. Sandong 2 is 2 miles west of Sanhe village. Sandong 2 is a low earthen hill. I heard that a few years ago. Sandong 2 had no mountain. There was a high mountain dozens of miles away. One day the gods fought and split down the 3 hills over there, one of which fell next to Sanhe village. Because of the story back then, this small earthen hill is called the 3 moving heads. Of course, this is just a legend. The gods fight, the people suffer. It can't be as simple as just splitting a mountain. But this legend has always been there. Everyone should just have fun. Who cares about truth or falsehood?